Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here, and welcome to my yearly easiest games and Gamerscore video. This is for the year 2020. Sorry, it's a little bit late. In this video, I will talk about the top 20 easiest games of the year, but I've also made a list of the top 75 that you can find on my subreddit, or I'll show you a brief preview here. Personally, I've been playing a ton of these games for research over the last couple of weeks, which is how I put up almost 50,000 Gamerscore in 10 days in January. All 75 of these games take under 1 hour and are a maximum difficulty of 2 out of 10, but most of them are easier than that. In fact, you could get all 75,000 Gamerscore listed here in approximately 30 hours. Now, there's no doubt that Gamerscore has been getting easier and easier, and I'm not necessarily a fan of that, but that is a topic for a completely different video that maybe one day we'll tackle. Otherwise, let's just start jumping into the top 75. Feel free to click the Reddit link in the YouTube description. There you'll be brought to an actual list of the top 75, and you can purchase the games directly from that list. It'll also offer a kickback to the channel if you find that list useful. Otherwise, let's show on screen some of the games that are ranked from numbers 21 through to 75. Also, recently, some easy games were updated back to their original state, and I have adjusted this list to reflect that, so it is 100% accurate. Now we can jump into the top 20. In at number 20, we have a game called More Dark. I personally took 18 minutes to complete this, which I think is around the average, and I would give this a difficulty of 1 out of 10. It's a very simple platformer where you just have to complete roughly the first 30 levels, and as soon as you do that, you should mostly have everything done. A video guide could make it go a little bit faster, but it's pretty straightforward on its own as well. Next up, we have a game called 112th Seed. This one takes around 30 minutes, but is as easy as it gets, in my opinion. It's a puzzle platformer, but there isn't really too much platforming. It's mostly puzzling, and it doesn't involve a lot of skill. For that reason, we have it up here on the list. Also, you may notice that this gameplay is from a Twitch stream. I stream a lot of easy games over on twitch.tv/Macca91 Productions. You're always free to come by and watch. Next up on the list, we have a game called Many Faces, which personally I did in 11 minutes, but I think it's on the slightly more difficult side than some of the other games, so you may find yourself playing for 20 or 25 minutes, and there is a little bit of luck involved as well, but it is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is beat the first 3 levels, as well as 3 total bosses cumulatively, and you'll be pretty much done. In at number 17, I have a game called Nicole, which is a Japanese visual novel that takes roughly 20 minutes and pretty much no skill, as it is a visual novel, which means that the gameplay mostly involves you selecting some dialogue boxes. The hardest part about completing this game is deciding whether or not you want to pay the $25 to buy it. In at the number 16 position, we have a game called Without Escape that can be completed in roughly 15 to 25 minutes. It's a point-and-click adventure game, and it will require a guide, but will require very minimal skill. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10, as you will need to do a little bit of math. You'll need to add some stuff, as there is a puzzle where everyone's solution is going to be a little bit unique, but overall, it's not a very good game, but it's a very easy one. At position 15, I have a game called One Word by Pog. This one will take you roughly 20 to 30 minutes, and it is a puzzle-solving game where you have to find the words in the kind of word puzzles, and that will solve famous quotes. You only have to do like 30 of the 75 levels, and you'll definitely want to use a guide, as without one, it will take multiple hours, but with a guide, it'll take 20 to 30 minutes max. In at the number 14 position, I have Tamiku. This game took me a whopping 11 minutes personally, but it is possible that you fail out and have to restart a couple of levels, which would take a little bit longer, maybe around the 20-minute mark. And it does involve a little bit more skill than some of the really easy games we'll be playing later on in this list. The completion here just involves beating the first 10 levels, each level lasting between 30 to 60 seconds. Also, if you're looking for easy games that don't require a guide, this is a really good place to start. In at number 13, I have a game called Milos Quest, which takes between 10 and 20 minutes, and has a 1 out of 10 difficulty, but probably would require a guide. This is a super simple game where you play as a dog, you'll fetch bones, solve very simple puzzles, and by the time you finish like the first puzzle and fight the first boss, within a few minutes of the game starting, you will have the 1000 Gamerscore or Platinum Trophy. Next up, in the number 12 position, I have a game called Swordbreaker, the game, and this will take between 20 and 25 minutes for most people, and this is a visual novel style game, which means it's about as easy as it can get. However, this game does require like 14 or 15 playthroughs, but luckily each playthrough only lasts about a minute. You will have to follow a text guide and choose the decisions accordingly, but before you know it, you should be done everything. In the number 11 spot, I have a game that took me 11 minutes, and that is Pity Pit, and you're actually watching me from when I streamed it earlier this year. The funny thing is, I started this game with absolutely no idea about what it was about or about what I was supposed to do, and it still took me like 10 minutes. So that's pretty easy in my eyes, although not easy enough, unfortunately, to break the top 10. Cracking the top 10 is Vera Blanc Full Moon, a visual novel style game that takes roughly 20 minutes and of course no skill because it is a visual novel. You'll just be pressing buttons in a menu. The only way it could be easier than this is if it was shorter, which every game underneath will be. In at the number 9 position is another visual novel. This one is called Jisei, the First Case HD, and this one takes under 20 minutes for most people who play it. Again, you'll be selecting a bunch of menu options on your way to solve the cases and get all of the different endings and missable achievements. In at the number 8 position is, surprise, surprise, yet another visual novel. This one is called Strawberry Vinegar and takes approximately 16 or 17 minutes. I do have a video guide available on my channel. You will need to obviously select the correct options in the game, and you will have to select fast scroll for the game to go as fast as possible. Interestingly enough, if you have an Xbox Series X, these visual novel games will scroll faster on that console, allowing you to beat these games in as little as 10 to 15 minutes instead. In at number 7 is a game called Even the Ocean, which took me a whopping 8 minutes. It will require an in-game cheat, and it probably will require you to watch a video guide, which I'm sure you can find on YouTube. But if you do that, it's a platforming game where you'll just be kind of running around, visiting a couple of areas that you will need to visit for achievements, and then unlocking things for completing the acts after you enter a cheat and basically beat the entire game in a matter of seconds. At number 6, I have a game called Gun Crazy, and this is a fitting position because this game took me 6 minutes. It is a little bit more difficult than maybe some of the other games we talked about. You will need to beat the first 2 levels of this game, and it plays like a little bit of a Mega Man clone, a little bit of that run and gun action. As long as you can beat the first 2 levels, you should have no problems getting all the achievements. In the number 5 position is a game called Sig Null, and this is a puzzle game. You will need a guide for this, or else it is actually pretty difficult and complicated and somewhat confusing. But you can easily use a text guide, and all you need to do is level select through 4 or 5 levels and then input commands just doing left, right, up, down, and that's pretty much it. You don't even have to look at the screen as you input the commands because it is just a puzzle game where you're shifting blocks over. I got this one done in 5 or 6 minutes personally. In the number 4 position, we start a new trend, a Japanese visual novel, this one by the name of Syrup and the Ultimate Sweet, clocking in under 10 minutes with a 0 difficulty. As it is a visual novel, you will just need to click a couple of buttons. It basically plays like a menu with no skill related. You just have to make sure you turn on auto skip forward to make it go as fast as possible. You can even bring that number down to 5 or 6 minutes if you're playing on Xbox Series X. In the number 3 position, I have another visual novel, but this one is approximately 2 minutes shorter, and it's called Blind Men. Again, we're just going to be selecting a couple of different menu options as the game fast forwards itself, and eventually within around 6 minutes, you'll have yet another 1000 Gamerscore added to your gamertag. In at the number 2 position, we are following the trend with yet another visual novel called Autumn's Journey. This one is even 1 minute shorter than the last game, clocking in around only 5 minutes. Again, we'll be fast forwarding through the menus and selecting the appropriate options to get all of the endings. And within those 5 minutes, you should have another 1000 gamer score for your gamer card. Maybe you're going for Microsoft rewards points. Maybe you're playing against a friend to see who can get the most gamer score in a month. But either way, congratulations on the easy 1000. Last but certainly not least, in the #1 position, I have The Language of Love. Yet another visual novel, yet another game that almost plays itself. This one actually does play itself completely. You just have to set auto forward on, and within 3 to 5 minutes, you will have 1000 gamer score without barely interacting with the game. Congratulations on yet another 1000 gamer score. I don't know if we really earned it, but it will be forever added to our gamer tag, and that's pretty cool. And hopefully you had a little bit of fun while you got it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know how many of these top 75 games you've personally completed. I'm at around 61 or 62 of them done. A special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace.